The launch of the new Terra Luna chain is imminent. And by the time you're watching this video, it's likely that Terra 2.0 has already been launched and the new Luna token has already been airdropped. But in the weeks since the implosion of Luna and UST, a lot of damaging information has come out about Do Kwon, Jump Capital, and Terra Form Labs. It is extremely important that anybody who's thinking about investing in Terra 2.0 become aware of this new information and the allegations that come from it. In this video, I'm going to outline this information and give you 5 reasons why you should avoid the new Terra Luna chain. Hit subscribe if you want to stay up to date on this real-life crypto drama as it unfolds. And like the video if you find this information useful. Also, if you want to support the channel and get a free $50 worth of Bitcoin, I'm putting an affiliate link to the OKCoin crypto exchange in the description. All you need to do is get to identity verification level 2 and then buy $100 worth of crypto to get $50 worth of Bitcoin for free. So back to the video, and we should start with the most damaging allegation against Terra Form Labs and Jump Capital. This is reason number 1 to avoid Terra 2.0. The source of this allegation comes from the anonymous account Fatman on Twitter. You may have seen Fatman in one of my previous videos because he was the one who proposed prioritizing the smallest UST holders first with the leftover reserve money. Since then, he's become a big player in this drama as an active voice trying to protect the smallest Terra Luna holders. On May 23rd, he tweeted the following. In the past 48 hours, I've been contacted by several whistleblowers. These people would like to and will stay anonymous. I have learned some deeply troubling things and there's a lot more to come. This is just the very beginning. Here is some of what I can tell you. Because Fatman gained his voice standing up for small Terra users, it seems like some whistleblowers have decided to contact him with damaging information about the big players in the Terra ecosystem. First, he calls out Do Kwon, saying, I know about the bailout from Jump in May 2021, and I know exactly how much you owe them every month in Luna. You may remember that Luna faced a depegging scenario back in May of 2021. That time they were able to recover, but according to this tweet, it seems like the allegation is that Jump and Terra Luna made a deal. Jump would bail out Terra in exchange for getting paid every single month in Luna tokens. But the real core of this allegation from Fatman is a lack of transparency around Terra Form Labs expenses. Terra Form Labs was minting 3 million Luna a month in order to pay for its expenses. Part of those expenses were to honor employee contractual obligations, while 40% went to fulfilling other service provider obligations. Back in November, this amount was worth $130 million each month, 52 million of which was going to this ambiguous category. This insane amount of money was being paid for directly by dilution to Luna holders. And Fatman is alleging that he has proof that some or all of this $52 million a month was going to Jump Capital because of their Terra bailout last May. While we haven't seen the full details and proof that Fatman says he has, it definitely seems sketchy, and we're just getting started on the sketchy things that happen behind the scenes with Terra Luna. And of course, a lot of those sketchy things center around Terra Luna's founder, Do Kwon. Reason number 2 to avoid Terra 2.0 is Do Kwon's lack of transparency around his previous failed stablecoin project, Basis Cash. Basis Cash was basically a copy of a previous stablecoin project called Basis that was created by anonymous founders in 2020. It turns out that Do Kwon was one of those founders and that this project was being worked on by Terra Form Labs employees. This project was never really successful and a lot of investors lost money in the process. All this information is coming from a former TFL employee who said he was working on Basis Cash along with Do Kwon. While just having a previous failed project is not a reason to not invest in a founder, the main reason that this is setting off major red flags is because Do Kwon basically pretended that he had nothing to do with this project and actively gave the impression that he was a critic of the project. We see that in a tweet he made in December of 2020. While DeFi degens are busy trapping retail in zero-sum games in the empty set dollar and Basis Cash, recall the only real stabilizing force in algo stablecoins is growing adoption and usage. So by his own words, he was a DeFi degen that was busy trapping retail investors. He goes on to say that Terra is different, but obviously that isn't the case. The fact is, he misled investors about his previous involvement in a failed project, and he failed to learn the lessons from that project to prevent the same failure in Terra Luna. Reason number 3 to avoid Terra 2.0 has to do with a bunch of shenanigans around Mirror Protocol. Mirror Protocol was one of the flagship protocols of Terra Luna that allowed you to buy and sell decentralized versions of stocks with UST. Once again, Batman is the one who is really bringing these details to light. If you have Twitter and are interested in Terra Luna, he's definitely a good person to follow. This is a pretty long Twitter thread, but we can kind of summarize it as follows. There's one initial Ethereum address that was linked to the deployment of the Mirror contracts. This address owned a ton of the Mirror LP positions and therefore was a large holder of MIR, which was the governance token of the Mirror protocol. Where it starts to get sketchy is that this address seems like it tried very hard to hide the fact that so much of the Mirror governance token was controlled by one entity. They did this by splitting the MIR token into a bunch of separate wallets. Because they held a majority of these tokens, they were able to vote in the governance decisions of the Mirror protocol, basically deciding like a dictator the decisions that would be made, while giving the appearance that it was a decentralized decision-making process. One of the addresses involved in this was linked to the DAO5.eth ENS name, which just happens to be linked to Do Kwon. So just to summarize, Batman is making the allegation that Mirror governance is being controlled by those affiliated with Terra Form Labs. This gets more complicated when we look at some things that happened within Mirror. It appears that there was a major bug in the Mirror protocol that went undetected. A few days before the depegging of UST, migrated a bunch of liquidity into a new contract, which of course was voted on by the governance, which may have been controlled by Terra Form Labs. The new bug introduced by this update just days before the crash basically prevented users from withdrawing their funds. So they were unable to escape as UST started to break its peg. Continuing on the sketchy Mirror thread is a hack that went completely undetected up until now. Jumping back to May 9th, this update may have actually secretly patched a bug in the Mirror protocol, which had allowed hackers to run off with millions of UST. But the Mirror developers never disclosed the fact that they were patching this bug or disclose the fact that they had patched a bug after the fact. It turns out that months beforehand, in October of 2021, a single wallet was able to exploit this bug and pull out $89 million worth of UST. While we still don't know who was behind the hack, the fact that on-chain sleuths had to be the ones who uncovered it instead of the Terra Form Labs or the Mirror team just shows the lack of respect that they have for their users and their unwillingness to admit when they messed up. It's hard to see how you could trust these people when they've been willing to sweep so many things under the rug. So reason number 4 for avoiding Terra Luna has to do with protocols and developers on Terra Luna supposedly supporting the new chain. Apparently, a high-level Terra Form Labs advisor said that 3 major protocols were strong-armed into supporting the new fork. Allegedly, these protocols would be cut out if they did not publicly support this new chain. On May 16th, Do Kwon tweeted that Terra Form Labs encouraged Terra developers to support the new chain, but of course didn't mention that that encouragement came in the form of potentially cutting them out of this new airdrop. Looking through either Do Kwon's or the official Terra Form Labs Twitter feeds, you'll see retweets from a bunch of these protocols who are supporting the new chain. Before finding out about these strong-arming allegations, I actually thought that these tweets were pretty creepy and cult-like. A lot of them end with this Terra is more than UST hashtag, which is pretty dumb because the whole pitch of the Terra ecosystem was UST in the first place. Some of these tweets almost seem a little bit less enthusiastic, like the Hex Trust protocol saying, in line with the community's decision to rebuild the ecosystem, Hex Trust will support Terra 2.0. If you think about the position that these developers are in, Terra Form Labs and Do Kwon basically convinced them to put time and resources into building on Terra Luna, with the promise that their stablecoin, UST, would work. Everything that these developers built around was destroyed when UST collapsed. And it seems like Do Kwon and Terra Form Labs are doing everything they can to give the illusion that the entire Terra community is behind this new chain, when in reality, it seems like that is not the case at all. Which brings us to reason number 5 to avoid this new Terra Luna chain. And that reason comes in the form of a tweet by Remi Tetot, saying that Terra 2 is like being forced to be married to your ex-wife's sister. If you don't recognize the name, Remi was a huge Luna supporter, and he was actually one of the select few chosen to be on the Luna Foundation Guards Council. The fact that such a huge former supporter and high-level person in the Terra ecosystem is talking negatively about this new chain and saying that it's a forced migration should tell you something. While some of the things covered in this video are just allegations, I'm sure we'll be getting more information in the future. future. So subscribe if you want to stay in the loop. But in the meantime, I don't know how anybody in their right mind would invest their time, money, or energy into Terra 2.0 after all of this shadiness.